Have you ever thought about the hidden world of crime that exists in our societies? It's a bit thrilling, right? One of the most infamous groups linked to this hidden world is the Sicilian Mafia. They are a well-known criminal group with stories that date back many years.
It's interesting how these syndicates are not just a local issue, but a global phenomenon. Over the years, many iconic criminals have risen to power, creating a complex history of influence and control. A blog post inspired me to dive deeper into this topic and explore the beginnings of organized crime.
The Sicilian Mafia, often called Cosa Nostra, is a notorious group known for illegal activities. They use fear and control to manage their business. The name Cosa Nostra means our thing. They focus a lot on protection racketeering, which means they offer protection for money. If people do not pay, they might use threats or violence. Smuggling is also a big part of what they do, moving things like alcohol and drugs illegally.
Looking back at Sicily's history, we can see why the mafia became so powerful. Sicily has been conquered many times by different rulers. This long history of foreign control made people skeptical of new rules and laws. Trust in written laws was low, and many Sicilians began to handle things in their own way. Their distrust of authority laid the groundwork for groups like the Mafia to step in and fill that role.
In the 19th century, big changes came to Sicily that affected land ownership. Before this time, land was mostly controlled by a few powerful people, like nobles and the church. But then, slowly, things began to change. Society moved from a system called feudalism, where nobles had all the power, to capitalism, where more people could own land and run businesses. This shift gave ordinary people a chance to own land and improve their lives.
A key figure in this change was the Italian general Giuseppe Garibaldi. He played a major role in unifying Italy, including Sicily, with the rest of the country. During this time, much of the land was taken from the church and nobility and given to the peasants. Peasants got small plots of land to work on, which was a significant shift. This redistributing of land marked a huge societal change and opened new opportunities for many people.
As Sicily moved from feudalism to capitalism, people faced new hardships. The change meant that many peasants owned land for the first time. But with this good news came new problems. These small landowners didn't have the same protection that nobles once enjoyed. They found themselves needing security to keep their land safe from theft and trouble. Without strong protection from the government, they had no choice but to look elsewhere.
This is where the early mafia comes into the picture. Initially, they were simply armed men hired to protect these lands. But soon, they realized their own power. As they gained strength, they started to become the very force that people needed protection from. It was a clever switch from being protectors to oppressors, and it worked well for them. They learned how to exploit the fear of the landowners.
Anthropologist Anton Bloch studied this change and described the mafia's key trait. He said it was about using private violence as a way to control others. This kind of power was not official or legal, but it was very effective. The mafia didn't just use violence, they offered a form of protection that really meant they'd control the situation. The people were stuck needing to pay for peace.
Around 1865, this practice became widespread. The mafia's influence started to grow rapidly. They controlled farms and had a clever way of ensuring loyalty and fear among people. Many stories from this time tell of their cunning strategies and how they managed to weave themselves into society. The mafia wasn't just about crime. They established a way of life that ensured they had control over the region.
Let's dive into the story of Luigi Barzini's account of the mafia. He was a journalist who wanted everyone to understand the chaos in Sicily. He spoke about how people distrusted the official laws and created their own strict rules. Barzini himself faced danger when he was almost killed. This shocking experience made him open his eyes and share what he knew to help others be aware of the threat.
He described the mafia as a sect of thieves who had woven a web across the whole island. They were very smart at dodging officials, and they could even beat the courts. These groups knew how to threaten witnesses and make sure they didn't speak out. This atmosphere of fear was really troubling and made things hard for regular people who just wanted to live peacefully.
Barzini also shared some dark tales about the brutal tactics the mafia used. One thing they practiced was humility, which wasn't about being nice. Instead, It was a cruel rule to keep people quiet and loyal. Those who dared to approach the law could be punished harshly, instilling a deep fear. This way, the mafia kept people in check, making sure their power remained unchallenged.
The mafia didn't just want control, they wanted total respect and fear. This wasn't just an ordinary gang, but had become something like a dangerous cult. They tapped into people's fears, insisting on silence and obedience through intimidation. It's chilling to imagine how they could twist loyalty and fear to command the lives of so many, setting a stage for their powerful grip on society.
After hearing how the mafia took control of society in past chapters, let's talk about the story of Dr. Gaspare Galati. He inherited a lemon grove, which seemed like a great opportunity at first. However, he soon realized that trouble was brewing. His land wasn't just any land. It was caught up in mafia territory, right on the edge of Palermo. Dr. Galati thought he could run the grove, but things got complicated quickly.
Yes, the mafia had a strong influence on Galati's farm. Benedetto Carollo, who worked on the farm, was not just any worker. He was involved with the mafia. This meant the farm was constantly facing troubles like stolen produce and sabotaged equipment. Dr. Galati noticed these issues and saw the shady dealings happening under his nose. He realized that his farm was more than just about lemons. It was about the power of the mafia over local businesses.
Dr. Galati decided to stand up against this corruption by firing Benedetto Carollo. But it wasn't easy. Many of his friends, likely under pressure from the mafia, told him to reconsider. After all, not many dared oppose the mafia. But Galati was determined. His courage came at a cost, though. Violence followed, and attempts to get police help failed since they were, unfortunately, bribed by the mafia.
The threats and violence became unbearable for Dr. Galati and his family. Realizing that his fight against the mafia was dangerous, he chose to flee to Naples. He left his lemon grove behind. Despite the danger, he wrote down his experience, sharing valuable insight into how the mafia operated in Sicily. This testimony remains important because it shows the weight of mafia power and the struggles of those who tried to resist.
As we continue our exploration, let's look at how the mafia developed its unique rituals in the 1870s. Around this time, these rituals became a crucial part of mafia life. The chief of police in Palermo shared important details about these practices. He talked about a ceremony where new members would take a blood oath. This ritual showed their commitment and made them part of the mafia family.
Yes, the initiation rites involved pricking a finger to draw blood and then smearing it over a picture of a saint. This act symbolized undying loyalty and was a serious matter. Another critical element was the omerta law, which enforced silence. Members had to promise never to speak about their involvement. Breaking this rule meant severe punishment, creating a strong bond of secrecy and trust within the group.
Over time, these rituals changed the way the mafia worked. It wasn't just about crime anymore. It became a part of society. The organization's influence spread deeply into all parts of Sicilian life. They were no longer just hired help for protection. Instead, they became a powerful force that integrated into the social fabric of the communities they oversaw, altering how people lived and interacted.
By the 1880s, the mafia's influence was significant. Public figures sometimes had mafia connections. One example is when Colonna, who was initially against the mafia, became the mayor of Palermo. Unfortunately, some say he was compromised and started protecting those he once fought against. It shows how far the mafia could reach, affecting even those at the top levels of power and proving their control was widespread.
As we move forward, let's examine how the mafia's influence expanded globally, starting with mass emigration from Italy. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, many Italians, including Sicilians, moved to the United States. This migration led to the spread of mafia activities to new shores. By the time of Prohibition in the 20s, the American mafia had found many opportunities to grow because alcohol was illegal.
That's right. Even though the American mafia operated independently from the Sicilian mafia, they shared the same secret rituals and codes of silence. This helped them to remain strong and stay connected. During Prohibition, many mafia groups in the United States made a lot of money by smuggling alcohol. They then expanded into other activities such as gambling, and later on, they became involved in the drug trade.
The influence wasn't just limited to the family rituals. In Sicily, the situation stayed tense until the Maxi trials, which took place from 1986 to 1992. These trials were groundbreaking. Nearly 475 mafia members were arrested and put on trial in Italy's biggest courtroom event. It was like a fortress to ensure that no one could disrupt the proceedings. This was a turning point that led to the fall of the Sicilian Mafia's hold over the area.
Indeed, the Maxi trials marked the end of about 150 years of Cosa Nostra dominance in Sicily. This long period allowed them to root themselves deep in society. It was the stories and legacies of their ancestors that paved the way for renowned gangsters like Al Capone to create their own influence. The trials revealed the secrets of their operation and the strong ties they had, helping to weaken their power significantly.
As we end today's discussion, think about this journey from the small farms of Sicily to the large cities across the world. Imagine how the Sicilian Mafia started with local crimes and then spread to many places, changing the way organized crime worked. This change has affected more than history. It's intertwined with global cultures and society. It's a story of power, control, and the fight against these dark forces over the years.
We hope you enjoyed this journey into the world of organized crime. If you liked what you heard, please consider supporting us. Liking and commenting on our channel would mean a lot to us. It helps us bring more stories to you. Don't forget to subscribe and engage with our content. Your support is crucial, and it motivates us to keep exploring these unknown worlds and untold histories with you.